What is up, everybody? It is Midwest Raider fans coming at you with another video for our channel. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to be a good one because I'm still talking about a loss, but there is some positive things I'm going to talk about later in the video, so hopefully you'll stay tuned and listen to those positives for the Raider Nation. Now, I am going to talk to the keys on why we lost this game, but like I said, I got some positives later. Let's stay tuned. I'm not going to just flip out like everybody else. I don't believe in bench Geno yet. I'm not there yet. That's too crazy to say. And you know, there was some competition in this game, some competing. We did show some signs from the defense, a little bit from the offense. Like I said, there was some positives in this game, and hopefully we can build on that and continue on to the Colts, which is a challenge as well, which I'll tell you in a preview coming up here on Friday. So hit those bell notifications so you know when we come out with new content. But you got Midwest Raider here. Hopefully Jimmy will be back for the Midwest Raider fans. But like I said, you got me. I'm going to continue the show, and let's get into the video. So we did lose against the Bears. And, you know, it sucks to say the Raider Nation going crazy. I think they built us up too much on the offseason on this team but it is a new team. You know, most times you're talking about new coaches and all this stuff, you're talking about rebuild the first year. But they always talk about win now and all this stuff. And so I think everybody's just going too crazy on everything. And it is what it is. We're still trying to find an identity for this team, because every game, like I said, we come out a little bit different. And this was no different. Like, we came out and we showed signs from a little bit of everybody, but we just couldn't get it cohesive, and we couldn't finish the game in the end, and that's kind of what happened. So let's talk about it. Let's get to the recap on the Bears Raiders. We did lose 25-24, 1 point, one play came down to the end. It was back and forth all game. Very cool game to watch, honestly. Just terrible, heart ripping out your chest loss at the end, because we were there, we just couldn't finish the game, which we've seen in the past. And that's probably the most painful thing, is because we've seen this before as Raider fans. So the Bears are now 2-2. We are now 1-3 with that 13% chance of making the playoffs. Playoffs? What are we talking about, playoffs? But yes, we keep dropping down, and if we don't start putting some W's on the board, it's not looking too good for the Raiders, and we are still in that rebuild period. All right, let's talk about the recap here on the box score a little bit of the stats. We had 52 total plays. The Bears had 64. We had 357 yards of total offense, which is good compared to their 271, but they were just able to make better plays when they needed them. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We did have some penalties, but not too bad. 4 turnovers, I think, is the key. 4 turnovers is the key to the loss. And only 117 passing yards, but we had 240 yards rushing. We dropped it on them, especially with Ashton Jeanty, who was the man and getting things done. So like I said, we're going to talk about those positives, but I think another key thing is the time of possession. We only had 26 minutes of time of possession. So that means our defense was on the field for 33 minutes. And so by the end of the game, they were a little bit gassed. I think conditioning played a big part in the loss as well, because the defense had been on the field a lot more than our offense. And even though we did get some scores and those types of things, we kind of scored fast. And so then the defense was back on the field. And yes, so I think our defense got gashed a little bit. They got gassed. And at the end, we could not stop the Bears from driving down the field and getting a touchdown when they needed it. And so we kind of, the bend don't break. Well, we did break at the end. We let them score. But our offense did drive back. And we did have an opportunity to kick the field goal. And of course, you guys all saw it. We got blocked. We got blocked on that field goal. And I knew it was going to happen because we actually had the ball a little bit closer. I don't know if it was a penalty or something happened. And so we went from like a 40-yard field goal to a 54-yard field goal. And when that happens, you have to kick the ball, like kick it out with some power. You can't just like loft it up like a rainbow. You can't, it's not, you got to punch it out with some power. And I knew as soon as it turned into a 54-yard field goal, it was going to get blocked. I just had an awful feeling. And it came true. I knew we were going to peel this off because I knew something like that was going to happen. And as soon as I saw Hike and I saw some guy coming off the corner and diving, I'm like, he's kicking it right in that line. He's not lofting it up. It's going power forward. So yeah, it got blocked, and so that was the end of the game. That's how the cookie crumbles. It's tough loss when you want to see us win after great individual efforts from Janty, from Max Crosby. The defense got involved a little bit in the early half of the game. So we're going to talk about some positives, but yeah, it was a painful loss. 25-24. Raider fans, it feels like the same old shit. It feels like the same old day, same old song, all those types of things. But I have to go with the positives in this game that I saw. So I'm not going to flip out, and I'm not going to just go crazy. I'm going to tell you some of the positives that we can look forward to against the Colts here coming up. I got a game preview coming up on Friday to talk about the Colts and their weapons and what we need to do to get that done, but we'll get there Friday. For now, you got this recap, and let's go ahead and talk about some key positives here in a second, but let's talk about the keys to the loss. The keys to the loss, of course, is the blocked field goal and our defense letting them drive all the way down to the field to score, to put us in the position where we had to kick a field goal. But another thing was Geno's 3 interceptions. Another one was Janty's 1 fumble, which nobody's talking about because he did have a great day on the ground with 240 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he did have 1 fumble that was kind of crazy. It wasn't totally his fault. The offensive line sucked on that play. Meredith literally got out of the way to let one guy just come right through and just cream Janty, and it was a fumble. So I can't blame him 100% because I think the offensive line deserves a little bit of it, but it looked bad, and but we gave them the ball right there, and I think they got a field goal out of it. But no matter what, they're getting points, and that points could have helped us win the game because it was 25-24. So another thing is Geno threw a low pass towards the end of the game to Thornton, who dropped the ball. It was 50-50 fault on that. Geno could have threw a better ball, but Thornton, it hit his hands. And I know he's a tall guy, but if he could have caught that, he literally could have rolled into the end zone, or at least we would have had the ball, I think, at the 1. So, that could have been a change. I think that was enough for a first down. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, but we either would have got a first down or we would have had the ball a lot closer, or even him to be able to run in because he was pretty wide open when he caught the ball. So that could have been also a big change in that game. But we didn't get it. Now, keys to the loss, definitely the 4 turnovers. We're going back to this again. But we knew what we had in Geno. Geno, in 2024, threw 15 interceptions with the Seahawks in 17 starts. So, literally, he had almost really close to 1 interception per game. Total, from 24 to now, he has 22 interceptions. So, we knew he was going to throw interceptions, but the thing was sometimes he would overcome that with tons of passes and big plays from his receivers to score touchdowns. And so you see that this game, he threw 3 interceptions, but we still had a chance at the end of this game to win. And so that's how he kind of overcomes that. And so we knew what we were getting with Geno. He throws interceptions, but sometimes he can overcome that with continual offense and scoring on some of the other drives. And so we just haven't been able to put that all together. So we also need Geno to please be a little bit more conservative on our side of the field and be aggressive on their side. I don't care. Throw a pick when you're trying to throw a long ball to the end zone and it's like a punt. Fine. I can live with that. I don't mind that. I know maybe some other Raider fans out there say like, oh, give them a chance for a one-on-one ball in the end zone. But don't be throwing interceptions on our side of the field and being, really aggressive on our side of the field when we're giving the ball to them. And we're putting a real big burden on our defense. That's huge, and I think that's another problem and reason why we lost this game, besides the 4 turnovers and, everything that happened there. So, all right, enough of that. Let's get into a couple positives. And the first one goes to Max Crosby with the interception, his first interception in his career, and it was awesome. blocks the ball, had a lot of blocked balls, really was reading the quarterback's eyes and got a pick. And it really switched the momentum a little bit, I believe. And we were able to get some things done. We looked pretty decent, in those third and fourth quarters. Got continual scores, 7, 7, 7. 3 in the fourth quarter. Didn't get much in the fourth quarter, but the Bears actually kind of ran the clock down in the fourth quarter a lot. So kudos to their time management. But we were able to get 7, 7, 7, get some touchdowns throughout the game. And so I like that consistency. But we just weren't able to get it done at the end of the game because, like I said, that defense was getting tired with the time of possession. We were scoring quick, and so the defense was out. So a little conditioning, and I think the Bears were able to, take advantage of that and also block the field goal. So kudos to Max Crosby. Kudos to JPJ for looking good on that line. Kudos to the O-line for looking better, but not great. Still has some issues. That fumble, I kind of blame on the line a little bit. That was positive, but still needs work. It needs work, people. And it needs more work now that Colton Miller was injured. So hopefully he can recover fast and get back because we need all the good linemen that we have because we don't have a lot, in my opinion. Not a lot of depth. So the O-line did goose egg, no sacks this game, and Geno was able to roll. That's the only thing I'm going to give Geno a positive on, the ability to get out of the pocket and to run. He made some great decisions to run, which maybe he needs to do a little bit more. Run the ball, get out of the pocket if you got open, and don't throw that pass if you don't need to on our side of the field. Don't be as aggressive. Be a little bit more conservative. On our side of the field, go crazy on their side, though. And then, of course, Janty had a great game. He really, besides that one fumble, he had 240 yards on the ground, and then three touchdowns, 1 rushing, two by catching the ball, and it was fantastic. And that 60-yard run is the Raiders' way play of the game because that was awesome. Found a crease, got through, decent blocking, and was able to take it to the house. And that is what I like about Janty. He can break tackles, but he's not a finished product. He's still a rookie. He needs work. He needs to get in the playbook and not go the wrong way. He needs to do a little bit better in pass protection. But fantastic day by Janty. And all these great career things, man. It was looking like, okay, man, Janty's having a great day. Max Crosby's having a great day. Tyree Wilson, the defense is doing okay. We just need to top this off by finishing the game with that field goal, and then special teams failed us. We were able to overcome those 4 turnovers. We had the chance to win the game, and special teams failed us, guys. Bottom line, special teams failed. We weren't able to get protection for him to get the kick, and he got blocked. And we had, like I said, that penalty that moved us back a little bit, and it went from like a 40-yard to a 54-yard, and it got blocked. So bottom line there, guys. All right. I think I got through all that. One little extra thing. I want to talk about Jackson's Power Johnson. So go and watch the interview with Max Crosby on his podcast or on his show on YouTube. Go check that out and watch the interview with Jackson Power Johnson. He tells a story where he wanted to play center last year with AP and goes to AP and says, hey, I'm playing center. I'm a great center. I have accolades of playing center, and I can get it done, and we're going to look good. And AP put him in, said, go ahead, take charge and go do it. I bet Jackson Power Johnson did that with Pete Carroll, who's old school, and he's like, no, you're going to have to compete for that spot. Now, I do think if he competes for that spot, he should get it because he's better than Meredith, in my opinion, and they should move some pieces around on the lines. They're going to have to put JPJ on the guard side, on the blind side, for Colton Miller if Colton Miller's out. And they're going to, I guess you'll have to leave Meredith that way. That's probably going to be the best opportunity. But if Colton Miller comes back, they need to put JPJ back at center. I think he can compete and get it done. And that's why I think Pete Carroll said he needs to compete for it. He's not just going to get it. And I think JPJ didn't play that game because he went to Pete Carroll and tried to do the same thing, and it didn't work out for him. So just a little rumor mill. I think that might have been what happened and why we were wondering why JPJ is not playing. in that game where he was able to play and didn't get in there. So let me know what you guys think on that. Other than that, that's all I got for you. Thanks for letting me rant a little bit, but thanks for also staying tuned, and hopefully you got some information and my thoughts on the game. So it's been Midwest Raider fans. Can't wait to see you on our preview here coming up for the Colts, and hopefully maybe Jimmy will be back. Still waiting, like I said, but he'll be back soon, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Midwest Raider fans, and as always, go Raiders.